Hello, you. Welcome to Geekism, and welcome back to another Meanderfile episode. These are mini episodes in between the proper Meanderville episodes, where we just sort of work on one little project that will make its way into the finished park. And today it's the festive episode. This is my attempt at a Christmas build. So, as I mentioned in the last episode of this series, where we built a candy store, struggled a little bit with this expansion pack, but really did enjoy some of the pieces, and was very happy to see the festive scenery return. I wanted to do something with this, although I didn't really want to build a one-off sort of Christmas ride. That's not really my style, and I also didn't really want to decorate a park for Christmas, or really have a park in a state that was worth decorating for Christmas. So I kind of sort of banged my head against the wall for a little while of what to do for a Christmas episode here on the channel, and then eventually I had a little look around and saw that some of the larger parks in the world, some of the more higher budget parks in the world, do have Christmas stores that are open all year round. Disney have a couple, in fact. I think there's one at Disney Springs in Florida. There's also one inside the Magic Kingdom as well, I believe. Universal has one, and then a few of the other sort of larger regional parks do as well. I think Dollywood does. There's a few others, and then there's actually a few sort of Christmas themed theme parks that are open all year round as well. Holiday World, there is Santa's Village here in Ontario, and I'm actually going to go and visit in the summer. Very excited about that. So there is precedent for all year round Christmas stuff in places like this, where there is a higher level of budget and a higher level of footfall. So very different. You wouldn't have found this in Pinewood Hills, but here in Meanderville there is precedent for there to be a year round Christmas store, and so that's what we went with. So I had lots of fun building this out, and lots of fun using the festive pieces. Saying that, they're all huge. Blanco's just huge. Everything's huge. It's all too big. I just want to say that now. I'll probably mention it another 15 times through the video. As you can see there, we're having to fake baubles because the smallest one that they go to there are the largest size, which you can just about get away with, I feel, here as like a real sort of over-the-top ornament. But for the most part, we're having to just make them out of art shapes because the ones in game just don't go to the size of a real one, which is kind of crazy, really, but there it is. Bauble, by the way, again, another term I'll use a lot, is a British term, I believe. I don't believe it's used in North America, really, but it's a round ornament. That's a bauble. All these things are baubles. I don't know if maybe it's German, maybe. It sounds a bit German. The UK gets a lot of its Christmas traditions from Germany and similar countries, so maybe it's that. But anyway, ornaments. What I'm building here then, there is a garden centre by where I grew up in the UK called Hollybush. And despite its name, it isn't always Christmassy, but it does do a lot of business at Christmas. I imagine probably Christmas keeps that place open through the rest of the year. They have a huge area that is devoted to Christmas decorations. They also have a Santa, mall Santa, Santa's Grotto there as well. And it's big business for them. And one of the things I always enjoyed that they have there are these kind of shelving units with a tree on them, and the tree is decorated usually to a colour theme, or maybe sometimes just like a style, like all see-through ornaments or wooden ornaments, that kind of thing. And then around the base of the tree are all of the ornaments that you can find on the tree available for sale in these sort of bins, I guess, for want of a better term. And yeah, I love the idea of it. And when I was thinking about how to sort of fit out a Christmas store, I thought this would be a good idea. Not only is that it's an interesting to look at, you can always sort of cheat a little bit here and basically copy, replicate the thing. And I made each of the ornaments in their own group. So all you have to do is multi-select them, and then you can go in and change the colours, and then you get a real nice sort of selection of coloured trees. I don't think many people's tree in real life are this coordinated. Maybe they are. I mean, I suppose mine is just sort of red and gold. I haven't really got much else on there other than a few sort of family ornaments that sort of mean stuff. I'm not a huge fan of those, to be honest with you. I quite like a colour coordinated tree, but I guess Christmas is about tradition and family, annoyingly. Yeah, no, we have some stuff on there that sort of means something to us, but for the most part, I just kind of keep it all simple, a simple color, and I thought that would be a nice way to shop for ornaments, to sort of buy them as the color they want. And then working on some shelving, and it's the second I started doing this that I realized that pretty much the only thing I have done in Planet Coaster 2 since they came out is build gift shops. I made a video on the channel with 3 different gift shops in it. I have then made another 2 gift shops that haven't been shown yet. I then made the candy store, which is basically a gift shop, and I'm now making this Christmas store, which is basically a gift shop, and I need to move away and try something else, because as much fun as these are to do, I'm kind of going insane with them now, having to work in the interiors of them. It's kind of going a bit crazy. Yeah, lots of fun, but I've got to... Please, if you see me mention the fact that I'm thinking of doing a gift shop anywhere, tell me to just go back and watch these last few videos, because it can't happen again. I need to have a break. I need to work on something outdoors. I've kind of got the process down though, and as you can tell from this, it's definitely an inside out process. So start in the interior, then build the walls, then build the roof. My goodness, I've only had like 2 Christmas rum and coke so far as time of recording. But yeah, build the outside, build the walls, build the roof, and also build the roof in its own building group. That really helps. So you could just move the roof up and out the way. You can move the ceiling up and out the way when you want to carry on, but sometimes you need to bring the ceiling down. You need to have a look what it looks like. You need to see how the lighting's going to work in there. So it's important to have the roof sort of midway into the process, but I found a real great sort of tip, I guess, if you're watching this for tips, is that build the ceiling on its own footprint, so you can take it up out of the way and not have it in the way. So starting on some shelving here then. This is based on, oh my goodness, I forget what it's called now. This is the Christmas store that's inside Magic Kingdom. It's near the Haunted Mansion, and from the outside it looks fairly innocuous. It's just called Ye Old Christmas Shop. It's where they put the E on the end of it. And their shelving is very much like this, and I really loved it. It's like backlit, and it would be really lovely for small glass ornaments. Here, there's going to be a couple of skips ahead here, because there's points where I'm just repeating myself and sort of spending way too much time just figuring out where little bits of wall go, like you're seeing here. So there might be the occasional cut. But here, yeah, I love these sort of backlit shelves. The one thing I didn't really do here is actually populate these shelves much with stuff, because honestly I kept drawing a bit of a blank. The amount of things that you feel like will be in the game, and then you go look for them and they're not. So a glass orb, something that you can shrink down and use as an ornament. Just nothing there, unfortunately. So and I do think that maybe it's about time that I bite the bullet and go for the scaling mod, because the amount of times that I would have just loved to get something just that little bit smaller in this building. At this point, I feel like I'm not doing I think I'm doing myself a bit of a disservice by not using it. I have no real plans to share these builds. That's not just me being selfish. I don't know. I just don't really want to put my stuff out on the workshop. Maybe it is selfish. I don't know. I find the workshop to not work very well. I find a lot of stuff just gets re-uploaded onto there. It's very difficult to find stuff. Occasionally I will build something that really works for the workshop well, but a lot of my builds, they only really work in situ. They would look terrible anywhere else. There's no exteriors to any of this yet. It's all just raw. I mean, you can see behind here, it's an absolute mess. Like, eventually all of this will get encased in a big grey box with AC units on the roof, and it will make sense in the grand scheme of this Main Street area. But outside that, it just doesn't work, and it's just not something I feel like would work well outside of this very sort of specific spot. So yeah, so it doesn't go on the workshop. So really, there's nothing stopping me using the scaling mod, other than if people are sort of playing along and sort of pulling ideas from what I build here, it might be difficult for them to replicate all of it if they're not also happy to use mods. But at this point, yeah, I feel like I'm just sort of doing myself a disservice by not having a go and using them. So moving on, working on the interior of the building. Then this whole building is going to really be like a big thermos flask. It's got an interior wall and it's got an exterior wall, and for the most part they don't really interact with each other. All of the sort of interior windows here are fake windows. I thought it'd be a nice idea with the Meanderville having more of a budget than other builds I've done in the past, that we could sort of take advantage of that. And you'll see we add screens in there, and you can see there the screen is showing snow falling. And luckily you're able to just sink the screen in so that it goes past all of the wood structure of those incredible Viking windows, but doesn't go past the actual sort of light up window. So it just sits perfectly in there, and you can make really ornate windows using that system. I just grabbed some snow falling sort of royalty free footage from YouTube and added a minute long loop into a screen and uploaded it. And then there's a few other little sort of snow pieces from in-game, the icing pieces that are also really very useful to kind of flesh it out. Then the other thing I decided, I actually asked in Bronation about whether or not this would work, because one thing I couldn't really find was the ability to visit Santa in these sort of Christmas stores, whether that's something that happens all year round or whether it's a room that's sort of tucked away. And do you know what? I decided in the end, well, maybe not everything needs precedent. I want a Santa Grotto in this place, and I think that'd be a lovely thing for a theme park. So all year round, you can come and visit Santa and let him know in June what you want for Christmas. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. So that's what we do. We build a Santa's Grotto. Again, I think grotto is a British term. I don't think that's used necessarily here. I've certainly not heard it used much here. But basically an area where Santa sits and kids can come up and tell him what they want. The mall Santa is a big thing here in North America. Obviously, malls in general are a much bigger thing here than they are in England. But yeah, so there's all the malls have a real nice setup, nice big comfy couch for the big guy to sit on, and usually a couple of spots for people to have photos taken, and then there'll be a sort of semi-decent photographer there with some nice lights, and they can get a nice picture with Santa whilst you're doing your Christmas shopping. Here in the UK, I don't think that happens as much. Like, I can't really think of Santas being in sort of town centres or what have you, but usually those places, like I mentioned before, those garden centres, sort of kids farms, play farms, they're the sort of place you would get to see a Santa in the UK. I used to live near the area of Standing Natural Beauty Cannock Chase, and the Forestry Commission used to do a really great Santa's Grotto there, where you would sort of walk through the pine forest, fir forest, I'm not sure, Christmas tree forest, and you could buy your Christmas trees there as well if you were having a real tree, and then you would see Santa, and his present to you, his gift to you, would be a little a Christmas tree that you could plant yourself, sort of like a little sapling, and you could, if you're anything like me, take it home and have it die around March 1st. Okay, next up then, toy train. So I don't think there's necessarily going to be a toy shop here in Meanderville. I did think of having this as being a more sort of classic toy shop, wooden toys, and then maybe leaning into the sort of Santa's elves building the toys kind of thing. But in the end, I wanted to go for a bit more of a traditional Christmas store. But one thing that sort of did carry over from the idea of a toy shop is having a train run around the top of the walls. I ended up cutting the footage because it really wasn't useful to share, but I did play around with the idea of having the train go all around the edge of the store, a little bit more like you would perhaps see in these toy stores, but I could not for the life of me figure out how to animate it, and I really wanted to have this train sort of trucking along. I tried building like a tiny roller coaster underneath and have the train sort of attached to the front of the coaster, but obviously raised up, and it just wasn't working. Basically, I'm sure somebody who's a bit cleverer with this sort of attaching scenery to stuff, Taggy might be able to do something cool where the train sort of goes around and makes turns and turns into corners and what have you. But in the end, I went for the sort of relative cop-out of just having it go around a circular track in the middle of the room. I think it ends up looking pretty good. As I often say with these games, that like necessity is the birth of invention. So the necessity here being that I wasn't technically good enough to do anything else, I think means it ends up actually looking quite cute here, going around the circle that we turn into a sort of centerpiece with a tree and gifts as you walk in. It helps break up a rather large roof that otherwise would look a little bit like a big sort of swathe of roof, and just a nice sort of focal point in the middle of the store. And yeah, I'm actually quite happy with how it turns out. We're using a lot of toy box pieces here, which, you know, makes sense. We're building a toy train, but we're actually using the toy box pieces. There's a selection of just these little boxes. They're kind of my new favorite pieces. I think they're fantastic. There's a square one, a rectangular one, a one with like a curved lid, and a couple of others, and they're two-toned colors. There's a darker strip along the bottom of them, and I've just found myself going back to them a lot. I always find that with the Planet Coaster DLCs, they'll end up being like 20 pieces or so in the whole DLC that I end up just really leaning into and referring back to a lot. And that these sort of toy box pieces are definitely one of them, using them on the shelves as gift pieces. Obviously, we use them a lot here to build the train. They're just really good sort of inconspicuous boxes that don't really look like anything, and you can get away with using them. This is going to be a coal-powered train, and we get to use one of the snowman pieces here for, I guess, actually what it's meant for. It's a piece of coal, so we get to use it as part of the coal truck here. And then we add in the screen mount, still, you know, one of the OG detailing pieces. You've got to respect the screen mount. He's now scalable and recolorable, and, you know, he's really having a glow up. But even in the original game, this thing was used in gift shops. It was used as handles. It was used as antennae. It was all over the place, the screen mounts. And here it just gets used more and more. So there we are with the train going around there on its little track, and you'll see in the middle there we've placed a tree. You'll get some better shots of that when we look back at the interior. But like I say, interior, once it is done, it is time for the exterior. The interior as it stands there is still a little bit plain. Again, I went to the Fantastic Bro Nation Discord and asked for a little bit of advice. I said, I've got these trees with spaces below them for decorations, but I'm kind of struggling for the rest of what to put in here, other than just sort of pretty plain shelving. They came back with a lot of really great suggestions, and you'll see some of them, and we'll talk about them a little bit later on. But now we're building the exterior, which is based on a different Christmas shop. Again, I really should make notes on these things because I can't remember what it's called, but I think it's called the Port of something, and it's maybe at Dollywood. I mean, I'm absolutely just making stuff up at this point. I'll come across it. Smoky Mountain Christmas shop is at Dollywood. No, it's not that. Christmas place? No, I can't remember. There's a Christmas shop. It looks like this. I'll put a picture up on the screen. There we go. I'll make Editor John to worry about it. There it is. That's what it looks like. Oh, look at that. Beautiful. And the one thing I like about this actually is that it doesn't necessarily look that Christmassy. It's a fairly sort of just standard Victoriana Main Street building. And the original building, again, I cut the footage of this, but the original building I really tried to keep it Christmassy, and it was all sort of like red and green, and lots of the garland stuff around. And it looked too cheesy and looked a bit too tacky, and I wanted to go for a relatively like classy interior, which I think we've managed to nail, and I wanted the exterior to match. So instead I've gone for this more sort of like muted icy colours, and I think it works out much better. Again, this sort of influenced by the picture you saw on your screen there. Yeah, as happy as I am with this, I was pulling my hair out a little bit with it because I wanted to do proper windows, and I wanted those windows to be able to see into the place. I mean, we end up covering them up quite a bit with curtains, but I wanted them to be real windows. I wanted as you wander past, because one of the problems I think I have a lot with interiors in this game is I build them and then I zoom out and start working with them. You never look back in there, and they're basically just piece count boxes. These sort of, you know, boxes that you never look into again, just with thousands of pieces in, making the save file crawl. So I think one of the ways you can sort of help the guilt of that perhaps is by having the interiors visible using real windows like this. The game doesn't really give you real windows. You have to build them yourself. We do have the glass pieces, of course, but other than that, we're having to go in and make them. And then the other problem you have with this is when you're building interior first, you get a lot of sort of like bits sticking out where you've not really cared because they've sunk into wall, and then building the exterior, you end up with the opposite where there's bits sticking in, because again, you don't really care about them, they're just pushing into the wall. So there's a lot of back and forth, rejigging a lot of this, and you're basically building, like I said, like a thermos flask of sorts, where the interior and the exterior walls are separate and they sort of sit up against each other, and where there's windows here, you're really creating work for yourself, because you've got to make sure that every little piece doesn't poke through either the front or the back. And I think I'm very happy with the results, but yeah, it was somewhere between here and a couple of hours ago that I was saying to myself, I need to stop trying to make these gift shop interiors, because my god, I'm just making a rod for my own back with the amount of work they take, which is why there hasn't been that many videos on. I actually started building this 1st of December, I guess, and I'm genuinely recording this on Christmas Eve to go out on Christmas Day. So yeah, a lot of time spent away from this and on this, just sort of going back and forth with little sort of bouts of there you go, there's a bit you got to hide, look, just sort of little bouts of inspiration. But overall, I am happy with what we've accomplished here. I think we've done some pretty good stuff. I noticed today when I opened up YouTube that a lot of other folks have put out Christmas builds. I'm very excited to go and see what they've done. Looking forward to that. I really enjoy seeing what people do with these pieces. Like I say, personally, I'm not really a fan of just being like, oh, here's a roller coaster and there's Christmas trees there. Yeah, that's not really for me. And yeah, maybe if I had a park that was a bit more established, I would decorate it for Christmas. That was something I enjoyed doing with Pinewood. But obviously Meanderville is not even close to being able to have that done. Maybe next year, we'll see. There might be one more ride built in by Christmas 2026 at the rate I'm going. So yeah, but overall I'm happy with what I've done. I think it was a good way of using some of the festive pieces for their intended use, but still building something that we're going to get lots of sort of use out of in Meanderville as we work forward. Both this and the gift shop are a much the candy store, excuse me, from the last episode, are a much larger scale than the gift shop I originally built for the park, and that alongside the bakery, they feel a little small now. So I think I'm going to have to go back and basically just sort of bump them up a little bit in both scale and depth. So that's probably what I'll work on next. Oh no, I want to move away from gift shops. No, that won't be what I work on next. That will come some point in the future. I think I'd like to get some more work done on the pirate area now, and then get the Meanderville episode 3 proper out, which includes a lot of buildings you can just about see in the background there, which is the other half of the main street, which again doesn't necessarily tie up with this one now. That's a little bit more reminiscent of Epic Universe. So I think I need to go back to those first couple of buildings and yeah, really kind of like accentuate the scale and just kind of remind myself that I'm working on a much bigger budget than I usually do in this game, and have done and did do for many years with Pinewood Hills. So here was the original exterior sort of cornice entrance building. Didn't like it, ended up going back and redoing it with art shapes. Was trying to use some of the western wall pieces to get a cool little archway over the top. In the end, though, it was just too big, so I ended up going in with just art shapes, concrete pieces. There's the plaster set in the game is probably my most used wall piece. It's just nice and plain. You can do so much with it. That alongside art shapes and little concrete pieces are what the majority of my builds now are built with. You'll see here we go in and build a sort of rounded bit here. And this is the only real theming we do here for the exterior as far as Christmas goes, is the wreath and the bells here. And there are a couple of things at the front of the building. I ended up thinking about it. I think it was Mineral mentioned that it was a nice looking building, but didn't look particularly Christmassy. And I did agree, but like I said, the one I was basing it on didn't either, really. And I thought afterwards, well, maybe the idea is that this place is sort of hedging its bets a little bit. So happy to have a Christmas store. Feels like there is demand for a Christmas store, but just in case, let's build the structure itself to be generic enough that if there's not a demand for a Christmas store all year round, this could become a more sort of generic gift shop or other structure. So that's kind of the idea I'm going with here. Even though Meanderville is very much sort of a designed park from the ground up. We are designing this as it opens on day one. It's not really a park that sort of sees much development through the years. I did think it was an acceptable sort of caveat to say, well, let's build this one generic enough that if it ends up not working very well, we can strip the wreath off the front, we can obviously redecorate the interior, and we can turn it into, like I say, maybe a toy shop or maybe just sort of more generic toy gift shop. Lastly then, for the exterior, using some of these snow pieces. Love these. I found these really useful in the first game, especially now with the scale, even more so, very useful. And again, this is fake snow very much. If you think of the sort of snow that you'll find at like Blizzard Beach, for instance, it's just sort of polyfiber or whatever they call it. And then even these bushes would be sort of fake bushes that have snow on them, just to give it that little bit of a Christmassy flair, but able to be removed if they end up thinking they need to be. But these are a lot of fun using these snow pieces. I'm a big fan of them. And I think, again, with the scaling, they're even more useful. So that's about it for the interior then. Again, I went to the Brown Ocean folks and showed a couple of sort of work in progress pictures of this and said I'm kind of struggling for ideas for shelving. And again, it was Mineral. We should know by now Mineral is incredible at this game and has a really great eye for what makes something look good in this game, I think. And he shared some pictures of Ralph Lauren, I think it was, a sort of upscale kind of clothing department store. And it basically has a sort of Victorian parlor kind of look to it. Lots of wood furniture, lots of end tables, lots of low lighting. And it was kind of exactly the vibe I was looking for. I couldn't kind of figure out how to word it, how to sort of put my mind to it and figure it out. So ended up building this sort of row of cashmere sweaters in sort of homage to that. They also have a lot more planting around the place in their stores, and I thought that was a nice touch as well. Sort of a real way to sort of just level up the place a little bit, So yeah, and then this space here just sort of screamed out for a sort of a function piece. What's the word I'm trying to think of? Like a real sort of individual shelving unit that isn't sort of replicated anywhere. I can't think what the word I'm trying to, like a feature piece, I guess, like a feature shelf that I did with the curved pieces of wood. And again, just kind of using whatever I can find to sort of give the impression of stuff on the shelves. One thing I found with the candy store, trying to make each of the items sort of really sort of customizable using a lot of the text layers and stuff, the game just doesn't like it. The game just starts to crawl to a halt and struggles to display the words and what have you. So we're going here, and moving forward we will be using very sort of implied pieces, implied sort of gifts, basically. And again, we'll use these really awesome boxes. Let's see if I can catch the name on as I build them here. Oh, first of all, we need some Christmas stuff. And again, these pieces are huge, but sometimes a couple of oversized pieces is fine for a display piece. The bow there is made from drapes pieces because the in-game bow is a bit shiny. These pieces here, what's it called? Toy plastic box. There you go. And there's different sizes of it, different shapes of it. They recolor really nicely. They have that little bar of different color along the bottom that you can do a lot of good fun with. So we sort of place these down as, I don't know, but ornaments or little boxes of Christmas cookies or something like that. And then finally, what's the last thing we do, though? I've got one more clip that's coming up here and I can't think what it is. Oh, yeah, the counter, of course. And this is where I have to kind of apologise a little bit, because honestly, this building isn't quite done. Much like the candy store that I built in the last episode, and honestly, much like most of the stuff I build in Planet Coaster 2 right now, it's 90% of the way there. And I've been struggling a little bit with the game for basically since it came out, to get anything across the finish line. I don't necessarily know whether it's a me problem or if it's a game problem or if it's a combination of the two, or if it's just that I'm kind of burnt out a lot with the day job right now because we're doing a lot of construction work and I'm sort of exhausted, or just in general, you know, the sort of issues that the game has, which, let's be honest, it does have some still. But yeah, I'm getting almost there with pretty much everything. And at some point, I just feel lots better about getting the video out and showing you the process, because that helps me get sort of things over the line. And also with this one, you know, it's a Christmas build. You don't want to be watching this on the 4th of January. So this is going out on Christmas Day. I would like to have got it out a little bit earlier, but like I said, I'm recording this on Christmas Eve. I finished playing this that I'm filming right now. I was playing maybe an hour or two ago. My son is away for Christmas this year. He has gone with his mom and some other folks to warmer climates, so they're having a lovely time in the sun. So this year it's just me and Ali. We're having a nice quiet Christmas, and we've been hanging out today. And as soon as I press render on this, we'll probably watch a Christmas movie and have a little drink. And yeah, we're looking forward to a nice, quiet, safe and happy Christmas. And I very much hope, if you're watching this, you are too. Or even if you're not watching this, you can't hear me, but I hope you have a lovely Christmas too. And if you don't celebrate, have a great Thursday. I absolutely love you all to bits. Thank you for the support during 2025. I'm really hoping to get back into the groove in 2026 and become more consistent once again on the channel. That's going to be my New Year's resolution. Until then, have an amazing Christmas. Be safe, be merry. Love you all to bits. Until the next one, be good.